This is the only MLB player prop that wins 85% of the time. And I'm going to show you step by step how to find it in this video. Now make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to show you the exact websites you need to be able to pull this off. Most sports bettors love exciting plays where they can watch, put their money on, and they get that joy and fulfillment. But that's not where the profit is most of the time. Most of the time the profit is within boring plays. When you're watching a player and you don't want them to do something. Those tend to be the most profitable ones, and that's the one we're going to discuss today. So the player prop that we're going to be looking at here is going to be for one player to go under 1.5 total hits. Now let's start step by step. First step of what we're going to be looking for here is we want to look for a pitcher that has the highest percentage owned in daily fantasy sports. DFS for short. So what that means is daily fantasy like DraftKings, FanDuel, where you pick a lineup and your lineup goes against other people. Well, we want the highest owned pitcher on any given day. That's what we want. We want to write down the highest owned pitcher. And how we're going to find that, I'm going to get to that a little bit later, how you're going to find that information. But that's the first step here. We want the highest owned pitcher in DFS. The next step is going to be identifying our hitter. Okay? We're going to identify our hitter by looking at the stats of the hitters against that pitcher. Now we want that hitter to be batting 200 or less against our pitcher. Now we want a minimum of at least 5 at-bats against the pitcher that we have written down. And I'm going to give you guys an example of this a little bit later on as well, so that way you can see a visual of actually how this works. So once we find a hitter that's hitting below 200, okay, against the pitcher that we have written down with a minimum of at least 5 at-bats, we're going to write that player down. Now let's get to the next step. The next step is going to be that team's bullpen, which the pitcher is on, okay? We want the bullpen to be in the top 10 in batting average allowed. Now the reasoning behind this is because we could have a great matchup with the pitcher going against this certain player, but more than likely he's going to have probably 1 or 2 at bats going against the bullpen. So we want to make sure that the bullpen is actually decent as well, because he could go 0 for 3 against the pitcher and then end up getting 2 at bats against the bullpen, and then somehow the bullpen is terrible and he ends up getting hits. Okay, so we want top 10 batting average allowed for the bullpen, which our pitcher is on, the team that our pitcher is on. Now once we get those 3 to line up, then number 4 is going to be to bet the under 1.5 hits for that player. Okay, notice I said 1.5, not 0.5. Okay, the line that the sportsbook's going to give you is going to be 0.5, meaning 1. Meaning if they get 1 hit, you end up losing. We're going for 2 here. Okay, this is an alternate number. The reason why is because in baseball, it's already hard enough to get 1 hit, right? But what we're doing here is hoping that they don't get 2 hits in a great matchup against a pitcher that they don't do well against, and against a bullpen that limits how many times the ball is put in play. Now let me show you a live example of how this actually works. We had the Giants going against the Mets. Okay, the pitcher that we were looking at was Robbie Ray. It was a short slate, so he was actually one of the highest owned pitchers on the slate in the DFS world. Now, the matchup that he had was against Marcus Semien. This is where he had a great matchup. Okay, Marcus Semien was 2 for 11 against Ray. Okay, so he was batting 180 against Robbie Ray. So not only did we actually find a great matchup here, but we also actually found him lower in the lineup as well. Okay, he was batting 7th. So this actually comes into play, and I'm going to discuss it a little bit later why this comes into play. Okay, he was batting 7th here, and we just needed him to not get 2 hits. All right, so the reason why is because now I'm going to discuss the exact percentages of him to get 1 hit compared to get 2 hits. So now if we take a look at him for 0.5 hits, that means 1 hit, okay? For him to get 1 hit. We take a look at that. The under on that play was plus 110, okay? An implied probability of 47%. Now his true probability of this actually happening was 39%. So that was a negative 8% edge. You have to go under 1 hit. That's for him just to not get anything, to not pretty much do anything, okay? But look at the difference here. We have negative 8% edge. Now let's compare it to our 1.5 number. But now for him to go under 1.5 hits, meaning 2 hits, now the odds for that were minus 450. So an implied probability there of 82%. Now the true probability here though, for him to be able to get under 2 hits was 86%. A difference of a plus 4% edge. So look at the difference here, okay? We have a plus 110 play for him to not get a hit, just 1 hit. And we have a negative 8% edge. They're in to get 2 hits. We have higher odds, yes, right? But we have a 4% edge here because we have an 86% true probability of that happening. Now, by this point, you probably take a guess, and you probably know exactly what happened. All right, first at bat here. Come on. We just need to pop out something. There we go. That's a pop fly. All right, that's 1 down. 1 down. Couple more to go here. Couple more. There we go. That's 0 for 2. It's another pop-up. All right, I mean, most likely he's got 2 at-bats left. He needs to get a hit in both. Get there. Get there. Get there. Oh, he's safe? What? Oh, that was close. Man. Well, luckily he didn't get another at-bat. We ended up taking the win here, where he only got 1 hit. Well, he ended up getting 1 hit, okay? So what did that mean? That means this play right here would have lost. What a shock, right? The play with a negative 8% edge would have ended up losing. And guess what? Your plus 4% edge here ended up getting the win. Yeah, you didn't get a lot of money back on a return, right? But it was a lot better than losing your money. And that's what a lot of people get wrong in sports betting, because they'd rather chase the higher payout, but guess what? They end up actually losing their money rather than chasing a lower payout, and they don't lose their money, and they actually gain a little bit of profit. Now, this isn't exciting, right? It's not too exciting to sit there and watch a player strike out or fly out. It's not exciting, but it's profitable, and that's really the only thing that actually matters. Now, if you guys want to fast forward through all this and you guys want to know the exact strategies that I teach day in and day out for every single major sport that got me featured on Wall Street Journal, Dr. Phil, and Forbes Sports, make sure you guys click the link in the description. Now let's take a look at the statistics from last season on this. Now, as you can see, not that many plays, not a crazy amount of plays that fit through this criteria, but when they did, they won, okay? And as we can see over here, we racked up almost 3 units just with this strategy alone and hit just over 85%. So when it comes down to everything fitting the criteria and you're able to get this play down, this play does win, like it shows right here. This was all last season, and this is proven throughout the whole entire season. Literally through the whole entire season, it was able to hit 85%. So as long as you follow the criteria correctly, then you're going to be able to find these plays, and when you do, most likely they are going to win. Now let's get to the websites that you need to make this happen. Okay, first thing is going to be to figure out the highest owned pitcher. What you need is Roto Grinders. Okay, it's a DFS website, and you go to Lineup HQ. That's where you're going to find the highest owned pitcher on any given day. Yes, this is a paid website. Okay, so this website right here is not free. Next is going to be Fantasy Alarm. Okay, you go to Fantasy Alarm, you go to MLB lineups. There it's going to give you a head-to-head stats of exactly how that pitcher goes against the full lineup that they're facing on any given day. And that's where you're able to dictate exactly what the average is and how many times that player's got to hit versus that pitcher. Now, the next one is going to be simple Google search, okay, for MLB bullpen stats. And honestly, the best one to go to is going to be covers, okay? Click on the covers right after MLB bullpen stats that you put in on Google. Go to covers and it'll give you literally the stats for each batting average for each team. You could also use team rankings as well for that, okay? Team rankings, same thing, batting average. Remember, you're looking for batting average for the MLB bullpen stats. You're not looking for team ERA. You're looking for bullpen batting stats for batting average. And that's how you're going to win 85% of your bets on the under 1.5 hits. I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then,